What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be doing a unboxing and then also a spoiler-free review of Visual Vengeance's Bloody Muscle Bodybuilder in Hell. This is their first release, technically, even though I did the other one first. Well, let's check it out. So yeah, I got this in the mail. Now, if you're not familiar with Bloody Muscle Bodybuilder in Hell, which is very difficult to say if you haven't said it multiple times, is that it's a Japanese Evil Dead sort of homage. Some people call it a knockoff. I like to call it an homage because after watching it my first time, I really have a lot of positive things to say about it, and I think that they were more homage-y with his own sort of twist to it. Shinichi Fukuzawa is the guy who wrote, directed, edited, everything in this movie, alongside two other cast members who joined the crew for a haunted house ride, which I'll get into more details later, but it's essentially people that go to a house. It is infected with Evil Dead-esque sort of monsters. I won't say how or who it is or what happened just yet, but let's just say it is a gory fucking wild ride that is 63 minutes long and a hell of a lot of fun. And this is the Visual Vengeance release. This is technically, if you could see on the spine here, it is their VV01 edition, which is their very first edition. I kind of went in reverse and did the Necrophiles, which is their second release, just because, I don't know. But I watched this last night. I had a really good time with it. As you can see here, I'm going to go through all the stuff that's in the actual disc, and we'll go over this briefly, and then we'll go into my review. But on the disc, what you get here is you get this cover, of course, the slipboard cover, which is new artwork, by the way, and obviously on the back you get just your standard fare. Also, more artwork here, which looks fantastic. But if you're a fan of the original DVD-R that was put out, you may recognize this, which I'm not even sure if this is the DVD-R or the actual DVD that they made years later. This is a movie that took, 17 years to put out. This movie was made in 1994, it started, and I think the official time that they stopped was in like 2013, and then it got put out, and then it didn't get put out, and then it got re-released and put out in like 2014 or something like that, and then they had another release, but there was only originally 100 on DVD-R, and now we're bringing it to Blu-ray. Now, this is a standard definition copy from the original SD master. So this is not going to be 8mm and all the other different various types of film that he shot on in 1080p. But, that's how this movie was made, and that's kind of how they did with the Necrophiles as well. If you look inside, there's some pretty cool stuff in here. You get a little sort of rundown about the movie and its history and its ties to Evil Dead, and how the director was he's not shy about saying that he loved the Evil Dead. In fact, it's kind of like an homage to Evil Dead 1, 2, and 3. In it, you get, just like in the Necrophiles, you get a bunch of stickers here that you would put on the front of a box at a rental place when we used to rent it. Speaking of which, I got my i4 video rental card, and this is rent 10, get one free. You can sign it and date it at the expiration. It's just in there to kind of remind us of the good old days of renting these kind of movies, which I absolutely love that. We also get the poster that is included with the new artwork on here. Of course, I'm going to be hanging that up. It looks really good. They fit pretty much anywhere because, you start to run out of space when you make a horror room like I have. You also have the cover here, which has the mouth screaming, "Bloody Muscle Bodybuilder in Hell." And the back, which is pretty much the same as the slipboard cover. Again, I'm really impressed with these kind of releases. They don't skimp on the artwork. They commission people to do new artwork, use the old artwork, and just kind of want to help celebrate this movie, as it was never really released that big and didn't get a release until years later. So now we finally got it in a complete form as well, with all these extras on it, which I'm going to read to you now. You get a new interview with director Fukuzawa. You get a commentary track featuring the director characters of Adam Green and Joe Lynch, which I actually listened to, and it was pretty funny. They kind of take the piss out of you and act like they don't even know what the fuck the movie is, if they're even supposed to be, reading the subtitles aloud, and it's kind of just their joke. They have a podcast that they do, and it's just their shtick. You get some of the original trailers, including the Japanese release, the archival image gallery, behind the scenes image gallery, outtakes, Visual Vengeance trailer, reversible sleeve, which we already talked about, and everything else that I mentioned. So also English subtitles and a Japanese only audios. But honestly, I don't think this needs to be dubbed anyway. It's really kind of fast subtitles, but there's really not that much dialogue to be worrying about it. So I'm sure you'll be fine. But yeah, so now on to my portion of the review of the movie. I want to talk about this one. This one starts off pretty mundane and pretty typical, although you are treated to sort of the story about this, which is a man back in the 70s is in an altercation with some woman. You don't know who she is. She pulls a knife on him and tries to stab him, cutting him, and then he grabs her arm and then she swings down to stab him in the chest, and it ends up stabbing her, which he didn't even mean to kill her, but instead of actually calling the cops about it, he doesn't want to get blamed for it, I guess. He just buries her under his house in the basement, literally digs a hole, buries her there, and forgets about it. Fast forward to today, or 95 at the time, and the son is actually a bodybuilder, and his father has passed away, and he gets the deed to the house and goes to check it out. Well, he brings a crew, actual magazine, haunted houses sort of magazine with him, with a psychic, and they go and investigate this place, and a lot of crazy shit starts to happen. Now, this is very, very, very homemade, and you can tell that this is made by someone who has a passion for movies as well as a passion for the Evil Dead franchise. The director actually saw the third one in the series of Evil Dead movies first. So he saw Army of Darkness, fell in love with it, and then watched all the original ones all the way to Army of Darkness, and is been a fan ever since, and he just wanted to kind of play the role of an Ash character. So he stars in this movie, and he's not so bad. And he also directs, writes, edits, produces everything. Like I said, this is a movie that took 17 years to put up. And finally here we have it in a complete edition with all the extras and everything that we could want to really celebrate this movie and to get it out into the public to show more people just how creative people can be. And this is not just some ripoff, in my opinion. This has some actually fucking awesome practical effects that are all homemade, that are done in the style of something like a shot on video, kind of like Necrophiles, but he did it in 8mm, which is a lot more expensive than shooting it on a videotape. And part of the reason why he had to reshoot the movie and do all this extra stuff and not be able to get it developed for forever. And it just finally got out, but he stuck with it. And that just goes to show you just how much passion is behind this, that even though he spent so many years and he couldn't afford it, he still finished it. And this is the only movie that he's actually ever done. Now, he has acted in another movie that he did for the guys who did The Meatball Machine, one of the directors anyway. He did another movie that was I forget what it's called, but he was in that as well. But that's it. This is his claim to fame. And to be honest, I think it's actually pretty fucking enjoyable. Now, is it hilarious so bad it's good, kind of like the Necrophiles? I mean, it has its charm in there, but I don't think it's that bad. I mean, there is some funny stuff in it gore-wise that I really liked, because there's really creative ways that they turn people into monsters. Some of them have the purple face. Some of them have the old lady face who comes back from the dead to haunt the living, and she's got some fucking terrible makeup effects, but it looks great in the same respect. There's just some creative stuff in here, and a hell of a lot of nods for the entire Evil Dead franchise. If you are a fan of Evil Dead, you will appreciate all the specific little tiny nods that he gave to those movies in here, while still making it his own and still making it something from Japan. There's stop motion, there's post-process, where they freeze the frame and then draw on the actual film. There's so many different techniques that are used in here that just goes to show you that if you actually have the passion, you can make a movie work any which way you can. it's really not about it being so realistic sometimes. Like, yeah, we want realism as much as we can, but some people just want to make a movie and have their ideas put to film or, you know, in music or whatever, you know? Like, it may not be the most perfect thing out there, but in my opinion, this is a lot of fun and it's worth seeing. It's 63 minutes, doesn't overstay its welcome, like a lot of these films do. A lot of gore, a lot of blood. I would say that this is probably a 7, like the Necrophiles, but not as, you know, in the way that I liked the Necrophiles. This is a little bit more, I really appreciate what they tried to do here and the shots and everything as well. But it's not just like taking the piss out of it and being a parody or anything. It is an interesting take on it. In some moments, it's actually kind of really inventive, really kind of creepy. In other modes, it's just having fun and doing something different, and man, do they get pretty wild in this one. But yeah, this isn't going to be for everybody. You know, obviously this is a low budget homemade movie and it's going to look like that. If you can't get past that, then this may not be for you. But for those who have the mind, the creativity, who've wanted to make movies and feel like they couldn't, watch this, and I guarantee you this is the inspiration sauce that may help you make any movie than just sitting there wondering, oh, should I make this movie because it's not going to look so good? Well, this guy did, and look how big it got. Now, keep in mind, guys, that this is a movie that has been selling out pretty fast, and it is going to be one that is probably going to go pretty quick. So if you're thinking about getting a copy, don't wait. There's a link down below where you might be able to pick it up. They may restock it. I really don't know. This is a brand new boutique, so I don't know how it works. But I know that there's copies out there. I have a link to a couple places down below where you can. But yeah, don't wait if you're waiting to get this. This is a classic that you're going to, you know, have a hard time getting later on, maybe. Who knows? Anyway, I would love to hear your thoughts. I really enjoyed my first time watching it. I wasn't blown away, but I was also really enjoying myself while I watched it and seeing some of the nods and everything all kind of bounce around. So I would love to hear what your thoughts are about this release or the movie or just making homemade films altogether. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for coming by, and thank you for Visual Vengeance for sending out this copy of Bloody Muscle Bodybuilder in Hell for my first time watching it. Thanks, guys, and as always, long live the void.